Australian Special Forces versus U.S. Special Forces. All right, so this one came across my my feed, and I was a little curious. I got some family members in the service, so I have no idea what your guys' Special Forces look like. I don't think I've seen anything from Australia about its military before, so I don't know how big it is. I don't know how advanced it is. I know nothing. But the little message that came with this video said that it was really cool seeing how our countries work together. So yeah, I'm here for it. Smash the like button and let's dive in.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we are going to talk about my experience working with Australian Special Forces, and more specifically their 2 Commando and SAS units, okay, which I worked with pretty extensively. I know, surprisingly, a lot of people from Australia tune into the channel and notice some things like my 2 CDO patch and Australian flags all over my plaques. Okay, in first group, we do a lot of partner training with Australia. Some big events every year, one called Talisman Saber and some things like that. And I just want to talk to you guys about how, or what I think about their Special Forces units. Now, if you've watched my previous video on where I rank the best and worst foreign special operations units, you'll already know that I ranked Australians at the very top of who I like to work with the most. Okay, so let's get that out of the way up front. Obviously, I'm very partial to the Aussies and working with them for a bunch of different reasons. Skill, enjoyment, just culture, overall, that type of stuff. So what I want to do first is sort of talk about the partnership, or us being allied with Australia, and why it's so important strategically. Okay, a lot of people might not realize this. Australia is definitely our #1 strategic ally by far. Why? Well, location, proximity to China.
Really? I had no idea. I mean, I feel like he would know what he's talking about. I guess, yeah, because you guys are a lot closer to China and just Asia in general. There's a lot of stuff going on too right now in the world with like the EU and America, and I'm sure you guys have all seen it before. It's exhausting, but all right, let's keep going. That's really cool though that we have such a good connection with you guys.
Strategic ally by far. Why? Well, location, proximity to China, obviously shared culture, shared values, all sorts of different things. People think Britain or France or Europe. Not only that, but Australia was the country that didn't abandon us in Iraq and the global war on terror. Whether you approve of that war or not, Australia left in 2021 just like we did. They were there for the long haul with us, and because of that, just like our special operators are so good in combat because of all the combat experience, Australian operators actually have a lot of combat experience as well, unlike most of the other foreign units. Okay, so again, who do I primarily work with? Australian 2 Commando for the most part, and some.
How long is the flight from Australia to Venezuela? Totally kidding. All right, let's keep going.
SAS stuff. So what I want to do is roll. My ODA actually had a big marketing video done that Special Operations Command used from our trip in Australia. So I'm gonna roll the clip of that, and you can see this is my ODA. I'm in some of these clips and our Australian partners. So let's check it out.
Cool. Special Operations is an overarching umbrella. You've got Navy SEALs, you got the SOCOM umbrella, AFSOC, MARSOC, all these different units. But truly, there is only one Special Forces. That's the U.S. Army Green Berets. I've had a very, very fortunate and privileged career. And every time the ramp goes down, every time I get on the helicopter, being able to jump out of the aircraft.
Jeez, what is this movie?
This is not a job to me, it's a dream.
I gotta say, I'm a very, very peaceful guy, but I understand how the world works and what happens and why militaries are needed. And I'm not saying I support one or over the other or anything like that, but like if you take away the actual fighting, I do want to jump out of a helicopter on a rope want to jump into the sea. I want to do all that stuff. It looks really, really cool. Barring the, shooting people.
I never worked.
All right, so you can see we did a lot of air type stuff, okay? Fast roping, halo, military free fall, that type of stuff. That was a big part of it, of the exercise. And I'll walk you through what talisman saber can kind of look like and how those training exercises together actually look. But let's talk about what the Aussies are the best at, or really, really good at, and from working together with them. Number one, by far, and I think they take the most pride in it, and they were extremely skilled at it when we worked together, better than us, is fast roping. Okay, so fast roping is when you're taking troops, sending them out of a helicopter down a rope, okay?
What we just saw, what I just said I wanted to do. And he said that you guys are better than that. That's crazy.
Sending them out of a helicopter down a rope, okay? It's actually the most dangerous thing we do in the military, okay? There's a lot of things that can go wrong, a lot of ways to get hurt, a lot of ways you can die. But these guys are very, very good at it. You know, they even fast rope dogs out with them and all kinds of stuff. So highly impressed when we were doing fast rope training together, right?
Fast rope out a dog with you? That's crazy.
Next one they were very good at was military free fall operations, okay? So my ODA that was there was a Halo military free fall ODA, and so we did a lot of partnered jumps and things together, and they are
that shit is so crazy.
Equally as talented as an American Special Forces Halo ODA for sure. All right, and then number three, tactics and combat prowess. So we did some pretty large scale training hits on targets, raids, things like that, and they were very tactically proficient as well. So I said those were the two things that stood out to me the most, I was most impressed with. And a lot of times when we work with foreign units, American Special Forces, our skill and talent level is a mile higher than the people we work with. That's not the case with the Aussies. Okay, they are very skilled, very talented, and very good at their job, just like United States Special Forces units are. Okay, so what are some of the types of things we did? All right, well, so we did two big raids, okay, or hits. The first one we did for the training exercise was to take down a shipping port. We were in the Northern Territories, and it was a huge shipping port. We used our ODA, plus I think 2 or 3 more ODAs, and their entire 2 commando unit to make the hit, which actually very interesting, because in the next one we actually took down an international airport. We don't get to, in America, we don't get to train like that. Like, we don't get to just fly Chinook helicopters into a city, land them in the middle of a street, and run out and do these big, crazy training exercises in the middle of it, like downtown Seattle. Which the Aussies are able to do because the military actually has domestic authority, so they're actually allowed to train and do stuff like that in civilian areas, which I think it was really cool, and let us do some things we're not used to be able to do.
That would be insane to be able to see, like, the military actually training in a city. That's that would be a sight to be behold.
The next big one, which is kind of the final colex, we took down an international airport, a real international airport. Obviously, it was set up for our training mission, but they had like 200 role players there, and again, we used both units to take this down. As we came in, chaos, people screaming, running everywhere, mock terrorists within the airport, and all types of stuff like that. It was very, very cool mission to do, and again, not something we would be able to do in the United States. We'd be able to shut down an entire international airport to be able to do a training exercise. So very, very cool.
That's nuts. I can't believe that.
Opportunities that we got to train with those guys there. Now, why is our relationship?
I just gotta say, I really like this guy's tank top. I want to get one. It's really cool.
So important right now, and that is because of our common adversary and enemy that we both know is the biggest problem in the world, and that is China. Okay, Australia unfortunately has tied a ton of their economy to China and is trying to figure out how to backstep out of that, much like the United States is. Okay, so we have a very strategic.
I just gotta pause it really quick because I'm curious to see when this came out. Okay, 1 year ago. I was just like wondering, was this like 3 or 4 years ago, or because a little fairly recent though? When it says 1 year though, it could be close to 2 years. I don't really know.
We're a very important strategic partnership in dealing with the South China Sea and everything that's going on there. Okay, so that's why I think Australia is America's #1 most important strategic partner by far right now.
Okay.
Also, just to tie it up and finish the video out, this one will be a little bit shorter than usual, but I just want to talk about part of the reason why I ranked Australia so high in my video best foreign special forces units is how much I liked working with the Aussies. Okay, that doesn't even come close from any other foreign unit I worked with. The Aussies were by far the most fun to work with, the funniest dudes. Those guys, their culture out of control a little bit. You know, we might have done a little bit of bar hopping and drinking with the Aussie boys, and I can say, you know, as crazy as I thought U.S. Special Forces operators can be, those guys were 10 times as crazy. I would say borderline out of control, but maybe not out of control by Australian standpoint. I'm not sure. But even during the training exercises, all the dudes are super nice, super funny, great stories, and by far, you know, my favorite unit to work with. And when I would do Talisman's Favor is probably my favorite training exercise that I would ever do. So shout out to all the Aussie fans and to all the American fans. I hope you guys found it interesting hearing about, you know, what the Aussies are really good at, and the fact that we work together so much on such a regular basis. I think people might be interested in learning that. So
I had no idea.
That's going to tie it up for this one, and you got some interesting
All right, cool. Yeah, I had no idea that like our special forces and militaries work together as much as he said, especially with like the Iraq stuff. Still fairly young when that started, and obviously we all kind of like have a better viewpoint of what actually happened there, but wild stuff. All right, Valhalla VFT, I'll have a link to his channel down below if you guys want to check him out. Tell him you saw him over here on Australia Hits Different, and yeah, I'll wrap it up with this one. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.